Her father's wealth, the nanny's story part 5. I couldn't find rest after Cindy's strict warning against accepting her father's proposal. An unsettling feeling gnawed at me. Why was she so adamant about this decision? Even during the night, sleep eluded me as I pondered over Cindy's refusal to have a mother figure in the house. The next morning, I went to Cindy's room and gently woke her. "Good morning, Cinderella," I greeted her. "How was your night?" She replied, "I'm fine." I sat on her bed, my mind racing with questions. I hesitated, unsure whether to voice my concerns, fearing it might cause issues. But before I could speak, Cindy interrupted my thoughts. "Auntie Miami, I just don't want a mother. It's not that there's any problem, I simply don't want to share my dad with anyone." I was taken aback. "Wow, Cindy, you have a knack for reading minds. How did you know what I was about to ask?" "Well, my instincts are always right," she replied confidently. After Cindy left for school, I decided to do some cleaning. Uncle Leon emerged from his room and asked, "Where's Cindy?" "She left for school," I replied. "Miami," he called my name as he approached me. "Why haven't I received a response yet?" "Uncle, I've already told you my decision. I don't want to hurt Cindy or my boyfriend." He looked disappointed and walked out of the house. Despite knowing I had made the right choice, I still felt bad for turning down his proposal. From that day onward, I felt unlike myself. Even during lectures, I found it hard to concentrate. My boyfriend noticed my distraction and asked if everything was all right, but I always lied. I felt ungrateful. After everything Uncle Leon had done for me, marrying him seemed like the best way to show my appreciation. He took care of me after my aunt, his wife, passed away. Beyond being Cindy's nanny, I had benefited immensely from his generosity and support. Every time I encountered Uncle Leon face to face in the house, I found myself behaving awkwardly. I would either lose my nerve or start to stammer. When serving his meals, I often made mistakes, causing food to splash on the table or other mishaps. I realized I was already in love with him and promised myself I would control these feelings. Months later, it was my birthday. I returned from school to find the sitting room beautifully decorated, with my pictures everywhere and birthday gifts from Leon and Cindy. This was how he always celebrated my birthday, but this year felt different. I expressed my gratitude for the gifts and hugged him appreciatively. Lost in the moment, I didn't realize he had tried to let go after a few seconds, but I held him tightly, smiling to myself. A sudden knock on my backside brought me back to reality. It was Cindy, of course. I felt deeply ashamed that evening. "Miami, you should have remembered Cindy was there," I scolded myself, but it's hard to think clearly when you're in love. Later that day, Cindy confronted me again with her warning. "Next time you try to show my daddy you have feelings for him, I'll tell him to settle you and make you leave the house." "Yes, I replied meekly. That night, Uncle Leon came to my room. When I saw him, I quickly apologized for my earlier behavior, explaining that I had been carried away. "No man cares for me like he does, not even my boyfriend." I admitted that I had wished I was old enough to be his woman and that he wasn't Cindy's father. Uncle Leon moved closer and kissed me, and we kissed passionately, as if we had missed each other for a long time. "I've never felt this way before," I told him. "Neither have I, for a while," he replied. We hugged, and I smiled happily until my eyes met someone at the door. It was Cindy. I panicked as Leon turned to see her. Her face was contorted with an anger I had never seen before. She stormed out of the room. "Cindy." I called after her, wanting to follow, but Leon held me back. "Let her be," he said. He looked at me and continued, "I am so happy you accepted my proposal. I had already made up my mind to stay single forever. Miami, I love you." We hugged again. Later, we decided to sit Cindy down and talk to her about us. It was clear that Leon and I needed each other. "Cindy, I am so sorry," I began. I tried not to accept his proposal, but the more I tried, the stronger my feelings became. "I promise to always make you happy. Please, don't hate me for this." Leon also apologized and made his promises. "As long as I live, I will always do my best to make you happy," he said. "Grant me just this one wish, so my happiness can be complete. I need a woman to call my own. I hate you, Miami, Cindy said. I hate that you betrayed me. I trusted you and thought you were different. She turned to Leon. And you're not helping matters. You say you need a woman to call your own, but you've completely forgotten about the woman who suffered with you. You want to replace her by all means. Cindy, I have done my best, Leon replied. I mourned your mother for 10 years. How long do you want me to mourn her? Seeing that our minds were made up, Cindy responded, good luck, and walked away angrily. I felt guilty and wanted to apologize to her and end my feelings for Leon, but he held my hand. Don't worry. I'm done pleasing Cindy and displeasing myself, he said determinedly. I looked at him and saw a man who was tired and needed help. That's how I started dating my uncle. Cindy has become increasingly distant, refusing to talk or engage with us. She won't eat the meals I prepare, allow me to do her laundry, or clean her room. She isolates herself in her room, only emerging to go to school, eat, or drink water. This behavior has persisted for days. I was on the verge of ending my relationship with Leon, but every time I tried, Leon would explain his situation, and it became clear that he needed my support. I hoped Cindy's behavior would improve over time and decided to continue dating Leon. Despite some opposition from his friends and family, our relationship flourished. However, I became Cindy's #1 enemy. Nonetheless, I didn't let it bother me. She had no choice but to accept me as her stepmother or continue living in discord. My priority was Leon, who is an incredible man, compassionate and loving. 3 weeks into our relationship, Leon proposed, and I happily accepted. He informed Cindy about our engagement and the upcoming wedding, insisting that she address me as her mother. He moved my belongings from the nanny's room to his matrimonial room, which Cindy had long since abandoned. After the engagement, I decided to complete my project and defense before the wedding. Leon agreed with this plan. When our final semester results were released, I confidently went to school to check, expecting good results as I had never failed a course. However, my name was missing from the class list. My friends and I searched all the posted lists, but my name was nowhere to be found. We reported the issue to the head of the department, who was equally perplexed and asked me to return the next day. Frustrated, I informed Leon, who decided to accompany me to the registrar's office. Astonishingly, my name was not in the school register. The registrar questioned if I had ever been officially admitted, despite my having paid school fees for 4 years and participated in all student activities. I presented my fee receipts as proof, but my name had inexplicably disappeared from all records. Leon assured me that he would send me to a better school after our marriage and urged me not to worry about the lost time and money. I was devastated, for years of effort seemed wasted. This mysterious situation was deeply painful, especially as my peers began their projects. I didn't share my distress with Cindy due to our strained relationship and often found myself dealing with the pain alone when Leon was not around. Life goes on. Weeks later, while I was cooking in the kitchen, strange hissing sounds from the sitting room caught my attention. I tried to focus on my cooking, but the sound was too disturbing to ignore. Reluctantly, I went to investigate and was horrified to see a bizarre creature, a massive python with the face of a woman. To my shock, the woman's face was Erica's. The moment she saw me, she hissed and lunged at me. I screamed with all my might, only to be jolted awake by a touch. I found myself on Leon's bed, lying beside him. "Are you all right?" he asked, noticing my trembling. "It's just a dream," I murmured, still shaken by the vision of the snake woman with Erica's face and a snake's tongue. Leon, concerned, held me tightly, feeling my rapid heartbeat and shallow breaths. The next morning, I encountered Cindy as soon as I stepped out of the room. For the first time, I felt a wave of fear looking at her. It was as if she wasn't entirely herself, as though something else was looking through her eyes. She walked away, leaving me unnerved. I didn't dare go downstairs and returned to the room. Leon was getting ready for work, and I pleaded with him to stay home. He asked why, and I confessed that I felt unsafe being alone. Understanding my distress, he decided to take me to his office. At his office, Leon left briefly to get lunch. Alone, I found myself replaying the nightmare in my mind. Suddenly, the door opened, and Aunt Erica walked in. "Jesus!" I screamed, jumping to my feet. She stared at me with intense anger and began speaking in a deep, trembling voice. "I am everywhere, Miami. You left home because you knew I was ready for you today. Remember, I am still Leon's wife. He remains married to me, and nothing can separate us. The sacrifices I made will not be in vain. I let you stay in my house because I trusted you, even though I knew it was risky. Now, I'm here with an offer. Leave my husband, and I will give you peace, money, and whatever else you desire. I'm showing mercy because you were kind to me. But don't test my anger. I love my husband and will not share him." As she spoke, my eyes traveled from her face to her toes, and I saw that she was half human, half snake. I wanted to scream, but my voice was trapped. I started coughing violently, feeling like I was suffocating. A hand touched my head, and I jumped up in panic. It was Leon, returning with lunch. He looked at me with concern. "What's wrong?" he asked. "I brought you lunch and some ice cream." Still in shock, I couldn't respond, my mind racing with the encounter and Erica's words. How had Aunt Erica become a malevolent spirit after her death? Was this a sinister plot from my village against Leon because they blamed him for Erica's death? Or was there something else I needed to uncover? Should I continue this relationship or end it for the sake of my own safety? Watch out in part 6.